Welcome to another video. A few days ago I wasn't feeling so hot and I spent time on the internet looking for different camera bodies and different lenses that might aid me in my use case in photography, which is to get better black and white images. And it led me to looking at the Leica Q2, the Leica M10, the Leica M11, with some of their different lenses. Right now I shoot with a Nikon Z7 II and mostly their lenses. The one lens that I use, well, two, I have a Tamron lens that I use that's not a Nikon, and then I also have this Voigtlander 50mm Apo lens that I use that's not Nikon on the Z7 II. My goal is to try and get some really good black and white images. Unfortunately, I didn't win the lottery this weekend or this past weekend, and I don't think I'm going to win it this weekend. So I don't think the Leica Q2 or any of the Leica products are in my at least foreseeable future. I would love to own one of them, but again, unless someone wants to send me the 6 numbers so I can win the Powerball this weekend, I don't know that I'll be getting it in the near future. There's a fellow on YouTube here. His name's Alex Kilby, and his channel is called The Photographic Eye, and he does some interesting videos. I enjoy his channel. You might want to check it out if you don't know about Alex. And one of his videos was about, do you really know what your lenses are capable of and not capable of? And I started thinking about that, and then I combined that with an economics class that I took back in college, back before dinosaurs. And it was, one of the theories is the law of diminishing returns. You know, how much more do you add for what profit or what benefit you're going to add? In other words, you can, I did a paper on sports teams and how many different superstars they could add and how much more payroll they would add once you sell out the building, and once you sell so many jerseys, and once you're in the playoffs so many times, you can't add a whole lot more revenue. And so you keep adding on payroll to something that's really not going to benefit the bottom line of your franchise. And I think in photography, sometimes we get caught up in that a little bit as well. You know, what lens can I add? What camera body can I add to make my photography better? Could I get better black and whites out of a Leica M11 with a really good Summilux lens? Probably. Better than I get now? Probably. At what expense and for what purpose? So I can put them on Facebook and everybody can go, ooh, you know, and not really know the difference between that Leica M11 with a Summilux lens versus my Z7 II with this Voigtlander lens. Is somebody really going to tell the difference? Probably not people on my Facebook page. Maybe somewhere, maybe one or two people. Well, I think about it. There might be a couple people that might notice a difference, but you know, is it worth $15,000 to me? No, of course not. So anyway, I had to get that out of my head real quick. But the bottom line was that it made me come up with the idea of shooting this lens for no more than an hour at f2, shooting different subjects. And what could I get from that lens? What could I really get from it? And the other reason why I wanted to find out was because I'm going on a cruise to Alaska here in a few weeks, and I'm deciding which lenses I want to take. And I'm trying to decide between taking the Voigtlander 50mm or the Nikon 50mm, the S lens. The big advantage of the Nikon is it's autofocus, and the Voigtlanders are manual focus. And with a moving ship and everything else, that autofocus might come in handy. But I wanted to see really, I know in 1 hour you're not going to do it, so don't leave me comments saying, you can't do that in an hour. I understand. But I really wanted to give this lens a little bit of a workout with different types of subjects. And that was one way of doing it, of restricting myself to staying on my property for 1 hour and trying to come up with between 10 and 15 different images of different subjects. And that's what I did. And I'm going to show you those images. None of them are award winners, but I'm going to show you them at the end. What I had been using this lens for is portraits of my family, my grandkids at usually their sporting events. It's a good lens for that. And I can convert it and get really good black and white images out of it. Could I get a better, again, with the Leica? Probably. But how much better? The law of diminishing returns. 5% better? 3% better? Is it worth spending all that money for that? Not in my mind. For other people, it probably is. If I was a fashion photographer and I was shooting models in Paris and the runways of New York or wherever, yeah, I wouldn't be shooting it with a Z7. Probably not. I'd probably have one of those Leicas or a different camera, maybe even a GFX. I don't know. But I don't. So I don't need it. And sometimes I think that when you, like me, and you get your fill of gas, gear acquisition syndrome, maybe just take what you have and go around your house for an hour and shoot at one aperture for no more than an hour with one lens and see what you can come up with, and really give that lens a workout. And you know, I think I'm going to do another video, and it's going to be the same lens again at f2, only I'm not going to be able to leave this room, and really give it a workout and see what we can come up with. And I think that's a good project, because I've been sitting around moping for a while going, man, I really want to go to Alaska. I'm not going to get any images until I go to Alaska. Man, I want to go to Alaska. And then over the weekend, I came up with 2 or 3 pretty good images of my grandkids, using this lens. And that's another point, that I think, you don't always have to go and visit the mountains in order to take a photograph, right? I mean, you can go out in your front yard and do it. That's why I would, when I was sitting around feeling sorry for myself because I can't win the lottery and go out and buy a Leica, I thought there's nothing wrong with the equipment that I have. A lot of people would die for some of the lenses and the camera body that I have, and I feel very fortunate that I have those things. At least for me, I had to take a step back and say, do I need a Nikon Z8? Do I need a Nikon Z9? I don't know. You can decide what you need and what you don't need, what you can afford, what you can't afford. But for me, I think I'm going to stick with what I have and really give these guys a workout and try to take Alex Kilby's advice and really, let's find out the difference between this lens and the Nikon S lens. Both are really good lenses. But what are the characteristics? I mean, do a deep dive. Find out the characteristic difference between these 2 lenses. Anyway, here are the images. If you enjoyed this, or you want to see the future videos with me going off to Alaska, please like and subscribe. And until next time, take good care of yourself.